Hello, ladies, and welcome back to Feel Your Soul Sister Coaching. I'm Tina Harmon, and I am the host of the show today. And I thank you for joining me yet again for another fun-filled opportunity to learn a few things about life. So today's topic is cycles versus circles. Yes, cycles versus circles. I want to come to you about cycles first because I want to explain to you how cycles work in our life and how many different cycles sometimes that we go through in life. I'm thinking in terms of geometric shapes when we're starting to talk about cycles, circles, and rays. If any of you have taken geometry, you would know that those are some shapes that they have different levels and different points in which you can arrive at each one of those places. So let's begin with cycles. So cycles, the definition of a cycle is something that is repeated over and over and over again. It is pretty much like being in a slump. The cycle only knows what the cycle knows to do. So let me give you an analogy on that. The first analogy I want to start with is your washing machine. Let's just say cycle A is delicate, cycle B is a heavy duty wash, and cycle B is where you wash your jeans at. So if you try to wash your jeans on cycle A, it is not going to work because cycle A says delicates. And so each cycle has its performance, and it is only going to perform what that cycle says. That's pretty much like life. And when we can start going in cycles, we find ourselves in a repeated same patterns of life over and over and over and over again. So I want to really talk to you about how different cycles. First, going to start with career cycles. Some of us keep going to one dead end job after the next, or not even if it's dead end, it's the same kind of job, but it's not a job that's fulfilling our lives. It is a job we're going to because we simply have to pay the bills, and we're not happy in that profession, and we want to change our profession, but we don't know what to do about it. So we continue to move from job to job, doing the same job and expecting different results because we're in a different venue, a different avenue we've taken. So I want us to know that, you don't have to keep taking the same job over and over and being in that cycle. You can get yourself a career that you're happy with, something that you love to do, something that you do with passion that excites you to be able to go there. And then there's financial cycles. How many of you know the day we got some money, the next day we ain't got no money? And it don't matter how much money you make. Some of us go through the cycles of rich today, poor tomorrow, rich today, poor tomorrow. Some of us, you said, we get rich when it's income tax time. We get this huge amount of money back from the government, and then within a week we back broke again, or we just living from check to check, and we keep going through these kind of financial cycles in life. It can be frustrating at times, but it's a part of life too, because unless you build financial stability, these are the cycles that we continue to go through. And then there's relationship cycles. Oh my God, we keep getting the same man, different face. I just had a lady talk. I was talking to her, and she was like, "This remind me of so and so." She was in a relationship, and that relationship had failed and it faltered, and when she looked back over the last 3 relationships, she had the same man. He just had a different face and a different name, and basically had the same game plan, same motive, same transportation, zero, same nothingness in their lives that she continued to fall for. And then she gave me a most honest answer, and I was like, wow. That her answer was, I just wanted to have somebody. So we just get in cycles in life in relationships because we just want to have somebody. But it don't stop there. We create and bring about the energy of the same kind of friends too. We go from friend to friend, and we keep trapped in that same friend in the cycle, in the cycle of, I got a friend today, I don't have one tomorrow, to the point of we just like, I don't even want to have no friends no more. I'm so done with the friend thing. And then let's not forget emotional cycles. We depressed and down today, up tomorrow. We go from one extreme to the next with our moods. We get these mood swings going, as they call it. And we continue to do that because of what life has given us. Like if we're in a financial cycle slump, then our mood changes because we don't have any money. And sometimes then when we get money, we happy and we're like just on top of the world because we got a few dollars. And then we roll through those dollars like nothing is, like we're never going to have any money again. And then we find ourselves right back where we started from, working from check to check, just barely making it, sacrificing, scrapping up money to make ends meet when we're in these basic cycles. So in order to break a cycle, though, you have to make a plan to break a cycle. You first have to recognize the repeated patterns of a cycle. Like I said with the washing machine, cycle A is cycle A. It can only do delicates. Cycle B is cycle B. It can only do medium to heavy loads. And cycle ABC, cycle C, it can only do jeans on that cycle. Like it's going to really get the heavy duty dirt that it was meant to be. Because if you put your delicates on cycle C, you're probably not going to be around much longer because that cycle C is going to wash them too long and tear them up. But if you make a plan, like when you do the laundry, you go separate your whites from your colors. That might sound funny, but it's a game plan. It is, I'm not going to do this anymore because if I put this in this particular, if I step into that cycle of financial despair, then I'm going to always be up today, down tomorrow. My moods are going to be swinging. But if I make a clear plan and make that plan clear, be clear about be definitionally clear about it, define it, make it specific, give it a target, give it a timeline in which you plan not to be repeating this cycle after you have recognized the pattern. So you need to sit down and talk to yourself and say, what is the same about what I'm doing? Like, why am I continuing to repeat this process over again? And finding purpose. So people always want to know, like, what's my purpose? What am I here for? What am I designed to do? Figure that out for yourself. Start aligning your values in life with where you see yourself going, with what you want to do. Sometimes we even have to identify our values. Like, what do we value most? Stephen R. Covey wrote this book called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And some of the things he talked about in there is putting first things first. I really like that. It's being proactive versus reactive. Like, if I know that if I get this kind of man, at the end I'm going to wind up heartbroken and despondent, set a vision for what you want the man to look like that you want. Set a vision for what you want your friends to look like in your life. Set a vision for the career that you want to have. Write it down. People do vision boards these days, and they do those for a purpose, because when you can look at your vision, when you can see it, when you can imagine it, you can be it, you can have it. But if you don't ever really sit down and design a purpose and design a plan and identify the patterns, you're going to continue to struggle. You're going to continue to go in cycles. And then, when we jump from cycles, sometimes we jump to circles. It's a song back in the day, you got me going in circles, round and round I go. I'm strung out over you, And yeah, no, I'm not a singer, but maybe you'll get a laugh out of that. But sometimes we strung out over the way that we live life. We're so content with it and happy with it, but we're not happy with it. When it's all done, said and done, at the end of the day, we are not happy with the way that our lives are. It's the reason why you're probably looking at this video right now trying to figure out what's she talking about, cycles versus circles. Because when you're going in circles, you have got a little bit of liberation in the circle, and that in a geometric circle, it goes from end to end and from point to point, and you can plot points on a circle. You can't do anything with a cycle. A cycle is what it is. It is repeated offenses, as I would call it. But in a circle, you are plotting points. So you can plot your next destination, your next step, your next idea, your next job. You can like really put a point for all those and travel around it. And because the circle is 360 degrees, sometimes we come full circle. We go around and around in that circle, doing the same steps though. We haven't changed the steps, because I want to tell you, it's okay to arrive back at the starting point if when you get to the starting point, you're developing a new plan for yourself. But if you're at the starting point and you're still following the same plots and you're still doing the same thing, they call that doing the same thing, expecting different results. What do they call that, people? Insane. It's insanity. It doesn't make any sense. It's not going to change anything. It's not going to change your situation. It's not going to change your path. You need to develop a new path. And when you come full circle, then you will have completed a path. Not to arrive back at the same destination because you just keep going through the same path, but to arrive back at the same destination or a different destination point, so that you can forge a new path for yourself, so you can plot new points in life. And so the other thing about circles is the people that we hang out with. That's our circle, our home girls, our home network, our friends, our family, our coworkers that we hang out with. We go around in the circles with them. That's our circle, the people that are in the sphere of influence in our lives. And sometimes we just don't have a big enough circle for all of the people that's in there. You got to start weeding some of those people out of the circle so that you can have the circle that's going to be supportive for you, a circle that's going to help hold your hand down the path that you're going, a circle that's going to keep you accountable for the values and the vision and the dreams that you have, that you plotted out on that circle. But I want to also say that sometimes you got to just get out of the circle. You got to leave the circle altogether and start a path that is not going to cause you to go back into a cycle or continue to do the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. And that path is called a ray. A ray in geometric terms is a straight line, a line that goes to infinity. It is marked by arrows that are on the end of them, saying that this is a one-way street. Ain't no way to go backwards to it. You can't go around in a circle. There's no cycles to it. You're actually developing a path of least resistance for yourself and a path of destination. And one thing about a ray, so if you ever look at the sun has rays, and those rays give light unto this earth. The sun's rays are so bright that it actually lights the moon. It is the light that shines through the moon. The moon doesn't have any light of its own. It is connected to the infinite light that shines from the rays of the sun. And I'm inviting you, ladies, to get on a ray, get on a path that is going to be illuminated. Jesus said, I am the light of the world. I am the light of your path and the lantern unto your feet, so you can see clearly the direction that you need to go. If you don't get in a path that is lit, then you going somewhere blindly. That's what happens in circles, because you can't really see around the corner of a circle because ain't no corner. And each circle has you sort of circling around and circling around. You can't see around the next bend, around the next arch in the circle. You can't see your way. And in cycles do what they do. There's no change into that. It is what it is, and it ain't what it ain't. But when you have a ray and a light and a path that is directing you, you can see clearly. You can see your next step. Because even on an array, you plot points. You say, okay, my first step may be that I figure out the patterns that I keep getting myself involved in. I'll take a look back on that part, so I don't have to, when I start on this array, I don't have to actually be able to look back in order to see where I'm going. Because see, when you on an array, you want to be continuously going and looking forward on the one-way street. You don't want to be like you are when you're driving a car. So let's think this through a little bit, ladies. When you're driving a car, if you are continuously looking in the rearview mirror, you have a very small window of view. But there's a whole windshield out there that you can look through. Because if you keep looking at what coulda, woulda, shoulda happened through the rearview mirror, eventually you're going to crash. And you may even have a head-on collision because you were not paying attention to where you're going. And you know what? Head-on collisions sometimes take us out of here, kills us. We don't come back from it. And a lot of times, if we're not dead, we're injured so badly that we have the hugest struggle in the world to even come back from it. So I want to get you out of the rearview mirror. I want to get you out of the circles. I want to get you out of the cycles of life and put you on a ray to a path that is illuminated, that is lit. And a plan, and a perfect plan that's been designed from your life before you were even born, before you were even formed in your mother's womb. God said in Jeremiah 29:11, I know the plans that I have for you, a good and expected end. I know where I want to take you. But you need to sit down, ladies, and get you some pencil and paper and start writing the things that have got you to where you are right now, to where you're not fulfilled in your life. Start thinking about the people who you came across, the people who was beneficial in your life versus the people who were not beneficial in your life. And start to think, how did I meet this person? How did they become a part of my circle of influence? How did I get this job? How did I arrive at this, that this was not what I want to do in life? I feel more better if I was changing people's lives. I walked away from my job. I was a special education teacher for 21 years, and I retired. I retired early. And the reason why I retired is because that job in particular, it wasn't that I didn't like what I was doing. It just got to the point where it became so political. The paperwork was enormous. The level of anxiety was too much for me, and I was no longer fulfilled in that job. And I am now at like a 60% decrease in pay. But I've never been more happier. I've never been more fulfilled in the path that I'm traveling right now, to change women's lives, to have an impact on society as a whole. Because women, you know what? We can build or tear down kingdoms. We got that power within us to do that. And when we're on the right path and we're following the right direction, my God, we can build kingdoms instead of tearing them down. I thank you for joining me. If you like this broadcast today, please like, share, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I will see you the very next time that we are together. Bye-bye for now.